Welcome to Cory's Conscious Living. Are you ready to meditate with Cory? Lay down, get comfortable, close your eyes if you want to, or you can leave them open and stare at your ceiling and use your imagination to create pictures on the walls. I want to tell you a story about my friend called Freddy. Freddy had a teddy named Doggy. They were the bestest friends. Freddy and his teddy, Doggy, had been friends for a long time. He slept with his teddy every single night. And he slept with him every night because they had important work to do. Their relationship was no ordinary relationship. It wasn't just like, okay, Freddy has a teddy named Doggy, and that's the end of that. No. Their relationship was beyond just a boy and a teddy bear. It was real. Every night, when Freddy got comfortable in bed, he would squeeze Doggy in real tight so they snuggled. He would start to fall asleep, let his body relax and calm down. And then something would happen that was magical. His eyes would start to see other worlds and other places, even though his eyes were closed. In the darkness, whole other worlds existed, and Freddy and his teddy were always together in those worlds. They would go on the most amazing adventures, and they weren't just going into the woods and playing games. Their adventures had real purpose. It was like they were on a mission. Every single night, they went somewhere in this world and in other worlds where they had a job to do. There was one time that they went on an adventure, and the adventure, part of what they needed to accomplish was to climb the tallest tree in the world. They'd heard about this tree from a very mad professor scientist on one of their other adventures in Dreamland. He was a crazy mad scientist, but he had the idea that if Freddy and Doggy climbed the biggest tree out there in the world, its position was secret, by the way. No one knew in real life, awake world, where this tree was. But in Freddy and Doggy's dream world, they had the coordinates. They knew exactly where to fly to in their dreams. And when they got there, they were supposed to climb the tree, not just fly to the top. That would be cheating. They had to climb this tree from the bottom all the way to the top. And it was the tallest tree in the world. But every step, every branch that they touched had meaning. The energy created from climbing the tree was all part of the mission. They had to connect to the tree as they climbed, and when they got to the top, the energy that was created between Freddy and Doggy and the tallest tree in the world sent up beams of light in the sky that he was told by the mad scientist could actually help to fix the ozone layer. Of course, every adventure was taken very seriously. They had as much fun as they could, but at the same time, there was always real deep emergency about their adventures. They were needed, they were important. They were part of saving the planet. Another time, when Freddy lay down to go to sleep with Doggy, his eyes started to flicker and he felt the familiar feeling of falling to sleep. He felt Doggy, his teddy in his arms, falling to sleep. And then all of a sudden the images would come in his mind and he would find himself in a whole new place, on a whole new mission, in one way or another, that would help the planet. This next mission was to dive deep into the ocean, as deep as any little boy could ever dive. His mission was to find a very rare shell, a conch shell, that was white and gold. And when he found the shell, he was to hide it in a sacred cave that was down in the depths of the ocean, in again a very secret place that no one on the awake when we walk about, not dreaming world, knew about. Only the world where Freddy and Doggy went was this information available. And this information was sacred. It was important. It was very, very important. Because when they found the rare gold and white conch shell, they were to preserve it. They were to preserve it from the rest of the people on Earth that may not take good care of the planet. His mission and his job was to put as many of these shells he could find into the sacred cave, and there they would stay for years, tens of years, thousands of years, millions of years into our future, preserved for generations and generations and generations of new people to be born into the world, so that one day they could see this rare shell. They had a very fun adventure at one point. They went into the desert. Doggy loved the desert. He liked it when it was warm. He wasn't sure about walking on the sand so much, as the dunes would kind of slip and fall underneath his paws. But he liked it. He liked the heat. But when they got there, they both noticed the same thing: the lack of water. It seemed everybody in the desert searched for water. The animals searched for water just so they could survive. The plants dug their roots deep, deep, deep into the earth to try and find water. Freddy and Teddy the dog, or Doggy the teddy, I should say, had a mission, a very important, very, very important mission out there in the desert. They had to create a water park. Of course, this was Dream World, where anything is possible. And they did create a dream world, a dream park, a water park that was beyond all dreams that anyone could imagine. It had the tallest slides, and everywhere, for miles and miles and miles, it had raindrops falling from the sky in little areas that looked like, if you stood under them, they were like showers. And you could do anything with your water that you wanted. You could drink the water because it was pure and clean. You could shower in the water. You could feed the plants with the water and the animals. But you could also play in the water park in the middle of the giant, hot desert. And in his dreams, people came from miles and miles and miles. And even the animals played at the water park. It was a mission that he had in one way, that him and Doggy had, that they could help the world to bring water to a place that was so, so dry. Another one of their adventures involved them traveling one time to, again, a sacred place where they met a very unusual character. He was a man that had bright orange hair that stood up in spikes, and he looked a little bit like a troll. He was a very sweet man, and he had an adventure for them that he'd been planning for a long time. Somehow that night, when Freddy and his teddy Doggy fell asleep, they knew that they were on a very, very important, serious mission. Not that all the others weren't, but this one just felt electric, like his little feet and everything was tingling before he even went to sleep, as if he knew that he was very needed. This mission was needed, and he was right. The crazy looking man with the orange hair that spiked on top just like a troll had invented a machine like no other that existed in the awake world, where people didn't sleep, where they walked about with their eyes open. No, in Dream World, this machine existed. It existed in Freddy and Doggy's world anyway. The machine that he had invented would change the world. It was a machine that they were to deliver to all the different places in the world where people were hungry. The machine created food inside. All you had to do is write on the screen what they wanted to eat. Ice cream, vegetables, fresh watermelon, anything that anyone that was hungry desired to eat. All they had to do was write it on the screen. And if there were places in the world where people couldn't write, pictures would pop up, as if telepathically the machine knew what everyone desired inside, what they knew they wanted to eat. The machine could feel it. It would pop out whatever you wanted. That was one of Freddy's favorite adventures, because to him that dream meant that no one, not one single person in the entire world would be hungry. Everyone would get to eat. That really would change the world. This final dream always made Freddy smile. There was one adventure that they went to, both him and his teddy Doggy. This was actually Doggy's favorite place to go, and they would go here often in dream. They would visit all the different old people's homes all over the world, places where old people would go when sometimes they didn't have anywhere else to go. And they would spend the entire night giving them hugs. The bestest, biggest hugs ever. In Freddy's dream world, Doggy was a super hugger. He was a hugger in a wake world, in the real world anyway. He gave the best hugs. Freddy always felt better after one of Doggy's hugs, but in dream world, it was like he was just a superhero of hug giving. It was like a natural. And all the old people would be smiling and happy and filled with loves from their hugs, and it made Freddy and Doggy feel very good about doing something so simple. Just visiting the old people and giving them hugs was one of his favorite adventures to go at night when he dreamed. Freddy fell asleep every night with his doggy Teddy. Every single night. He loved that Teddy very, very much. Sometimes, on rare occasions, they didn't dream. But I would say maybe 5 or 6 nights a week they went on adventures. Adventures that would help in one way or another to change the world and make it a better place. Now, how cool is that? It's time for you to go to sleep, my little friend. Time for you to maybe grab a special teddy if you haven't done so already. Snuggle into it real tight. Close your eyes and let your body start to relax, just like Freddy does. In the darkness, as you stare with your eyes closed, going into dream world, start to let your imagination wake up Imagine you are off on a wonderful adventure. You and your teddy out there, flying through the skies, changing the world to become a better place. What would you do, my little friend, if you could change the world? Let your body relax and get sleepy and heavy as you start to let your imagination create magic and wonder as you fall to sleep. What if every star in the sky was another world? Can you imagine how many worlds there would be? When you look up at the sky at night and you see all those stars, billions and trillions of stars, and that's just the sky that you can see. What about all the stars in the skies that all of the other little boys and girls can see all over the world? What if all of those stars were worlds, places you could go and visit and meet new friends and new types of people, all different types of people? Maybe they looked completely different. They might look like Martians from outer space. Or they might look like clouds with eyes. Or big balls of rainbow-colored energy with little legs that walked around. They might be tall people, as tall as trees. Can you imagine if all of the stars in the sky were different kinds of worlds? How much fun we would have when we fall to sleep, being able to go and visit. Let your entire body relax even more as you imagine the wonderful places you could go. There was one time when I had a dream that I had visited a place in the sky, in the stars, and everyone there was blue. They were all blue. Their skin was blue and their faces were blue, and they were very, very nice people. But they were blue. I had so much fun visiting that place. Let your breathing get longer and slower so your body relaxes even more. Every time you breathe out, let your body sink just a little bit deeper. Very, very sleepy. But your mind and your imagination is having so much fun in the stars with all the different types of beings and life out there in the world. Just relax and let yourself go.